morning. I'm Maria Lizignoli, and it's 11 o'clock live in the WCCO newsroom. Thanks for joining us here at the live desk. Just into the newsroom, St. Paul police say one person has died in a house fire last night. According to reports, the crew responded to a detached garage that caught fire on the 1400 block of Mayor Street, and that's in the North St. Paul area near the Rice and Arlington fields. After putting out the flames, firefighters found one person dead inside. Ramsey County Medical Examiner is now working to identify the body. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. We, of course, will keep you updated as soon as we learn more. This morning, a 60-year-old man is alive but badly burned after his home exploded just before midnight, according to the Sherburne County Sheriff. This is video from Terrence Thompson's home in Princeton last night as fire crews work to put out the flames. WCCO's Barrett Leone is on the scene now, and she just got off the phone with the sheriff, who said it was possibly an explosion from the water heater. He said that Thompson said he had checked on the water heater before the incident. Of course, the fire marshal is still investigating exactly what caused the explosion. Now, Thompson was able to get out of his house and get his neighbors' attention. He was then flown to a trauma center here in the Twin Cities. Barrett is at this house now. She is talking with authorities and neighbors, and she'll have a live update for you in our news at noon. A bill to establish a watchdog agency to prevent fraud in Minnesota's public programs gets another hearing today. It comes as the state has more than $500 million worth of fraud under investigation right now. Half of that $500 million comes from the Feeding Our Future scheme. The former founder of the organization at the center of the case is on trial this week. Lawmakers say this proposal is all about building on a culture of accountability and proactive oversight. This office would be an independent agency in charge of investigating and combating fraud, waste, and abuse in state government. It would then provide recommendations for changes in state law or refer cases for prosecution. A tip line would also be established for people to report problems anonymously. 9 states already have similar offices of Inspector General. The House Human Services Committee is taking up this bill at the Capitol as we speak. This week marks 500 days since the start of the Israel-Hamas war. And tonight you are invited to a community vigil to support the Israeli hostages and their families. That starts tonight at 6:45 at the Berry Family Campus of the Minnesota JCC Center. The address is on your screen now. There will be prayers demanding the return of those still being held captive and then mourning of those who have been lost. You will need a photo ID to enter the vigil. This morning, Hamas handed over the bodies of 4 Israeli hostages to the Red Cross on the Gaza Strip. Hamas says all 4, 2 adults and 2 children, died during Israeli airstrikes along with the guards. Hamas says it plans to free 6 living hostages Saturday in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. The terror group also plans to release 4 more bodies next week, which would mark the end of the ceasefire's first phase. Hamas said it won't release the remaining 60 hostages, who are all men, without the lasting ceasefire and full Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. Around half of those are believed to be dead. Well, I want to bring you now outside of Hayward, Wisconsin, where it is the second day of the American Birkebeiner there in Wisconsin. This is the iconic bridge. Skiers hit the grooves ahead of the 51st annual Birkebeiner race. Let me show you some video from yesterday. Over 1,000 people took part in the open race. That's a practice round that lets the skiers get a sneak peek before the real thing, which kicks off on Saturday. Great weather out there yesterday, and again, great weather today. Let me show you another track. This is a really cool website here. You can look at several live cameras of the tracks. Let's go to the Birkebeiner entrance, the start of it here. You can see up here it says 15 degrees Fahrenheit, definitely warmer than it was yesterday. Here is the Village Hub. No one out on the tracks yet. I believe it doesn't start it might be starting soon, but there's a lot of events today. The dogs get to join in on the fun with the Berkey race, while Berkey relays take place this afternoon. It's going to be a really, really great weekend for it. All right, here in downtown Minneapolis, you can see blue skies and a red Next Weather Tower. That is good because we know that it's been freezing outside. It is not so right now. Let me bring in Next Weather meteorologist Joseph Dames. He has a look at your next weather forecast.
Hey, good morning, Maria. Happy Thursday. Hey, did you notice that it was a little bit warmer out this morning? Tough, I know. It's just a little bit warmer, but we will continue on that trend, and we're going to just climb out of this cold air. It's going to take us some time this week, but by the weekend, you're really going to start feeling it, all right? So temperatures today, at least in the double digits, still in the teens, though. This weekend, I do have 30s and 40s with some cloud coverage in the forecast, and then on Monday, looks like we might get some precipitation around here. We have a couple disturbances that are going to try to slide on through as we go through the late weekend and into early next week. Speaking of the weekend, Friday, 23 degrees with some sunshine, maybe a few clouds out there. Saturday, we start off with clearer skies. We're going to see highs building to about freezing, and then we start seeing some clouds strolling on in as we go into Saturday night, and those will carry into Sunday. By Sunday, a high nearly at 40 degrees. The average, by the way, on Sunday's 32, so boom. We're above average finally. But Sunday may come with some droplets of rain and maybe even a little bit of snowfall across the state because of a system out of Canada, and I'll talk about that coming up. All right, up in Lutsen, if you're heading out for the weekend, there's that snow I was telling you about up north. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we have that steady climb over at Afton, and in Hayward, got a big event going on. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s and upper 30s by Sunday. High pressure's with us right now, and that will carry into our Friday, but it all falls apart as we head into the weekend. It shifts to the south. It flattens out, and that opens up the door. That gives us a chance for a few weak disturbances to come out of Canada. We're going to have a couple Alberta clippers where they form in Alberta and they kind of just slide down through the area. And one, they're typically quick, and two, they don't typically have a lot of moisture with it, all right? So the first one will arrive on Sunday. Notice the clouds thicken up. Here comes some moisture. Pause it right around dinner time. We may see a couple droplets of rain, some snow up to the north. That clears out. Second system comes through on Monday. This one has a better chance to bring in kind of some drippy conditions for us on Monday and some light rain. I don't think we're going to get a wintry mix out of this. I don't think we're going to get freezing rain out of this event right now. I think it's just going to be good old-fashioned cold winter rain. But we'll have to pay attention to maybe the forecast Monday night into Tuesday to see if anything can get a little slippery outside or a little icy. All right, so double digits across the 7-day forecast. We have at least one more night, Maria, where we're going to dip probably below zero, but then we're back to the positives, not only in the afternoon, but also overnight. You can see there by Sunday, we have an overnight temperature of 33 degrees. Have a great day.
All right, Joseph, thanks. So it may be cold now, but some people are gearing up to hit the links this spring. What better way to do that than going to the Minnesota Golf Show? Our Shayla Reeves was at the Minneapolis Convention Center this morning, taking swings with a football legend. Take a look.
And for you, golf is a sport you picked up, you said, as an adult. It wasn't something you played as a kid, but as an adult.
Yeah.
What do you love about it the most?
I love when I occasionally hit a really good shot and everybody claps or something. But no, I just love that the game is so fun. You can pick it up. You don't have to be really good at it, but you just got to enjoy yourself, go out there, hit some balls.
People will have a chance to meet you this weekend when they come. You'll be here all 3 days of the show.
Yes.
You've gotten to travel the country and connect this sport with people all around, people who've never played before, and some kids, too, that are being introduced to the sport. Yes. What have you enjoyed the most about that part of your work?
I think it's when I go to different places, people want to ask me questions about the state of Minnesota. They always wonder, does it snow here in Minnesota year-round? And I'm like, no, it does not. And a lot of people are amazed to hear that we have so much golf here in Minnesota. So that's another question. But I think most of all, people just want to chit-chat and talk and meet somebody from Minnesota, and I enjoy doing that.
All right, very cool. And let me show you some information here about the event. If you want to check it out, it's at the Minneapolis Convention Center. It's this weekend. Tickets are $15 at the door, and you can find more information at mngolfshow.com. The NBA has suspended Milwaukee forward Bobby Portis Jr. for 25 games without pay for violating the NBA's drug policy. Now, the Buck player tested positive for painkiller tramadol. His agent said Portis did not realize he was taking tramadol, which was properly prescribed but is on the NBA's banned substance list. So his suspension starts tonight with the Bucks game against the Los Angeles Clippers, and he cannot play again until April 8th. All right, let's check in with our Mike Max for a look at some of the stories we're following today in sports.
Good morning, everybody. All eyes turn to Minnesota hockey in an international forum. Tonight, the Four Nations face-off concludes with the USA taking on Canada. Say no more. Minnesota Wild have two players in it, Brock Faber and Matt Boldy. Boldy says this whole experience of playing in this tournament has been fun, not just because of the competition.
It's exciting. I think I was saying before, I think it's cool for my parents. You know, everything they've done for me, sacrificed for me to get here. So I think for them to kind of have that moment too is pretty special.
The Gopher hockey team continues to work out, preparing for the Ohio State Buckeyes in the big series this weekend. But they too are keeping an eye on the Four Nations face-off because one of their former players, and for many former teammates, Brock Faber, is a part of it. Bob Motzko says he couldn't be happier.
For us, every time you just see him on the ice, you just know his play. You just know the level of play is just so high. And then it's just so happy for he and his family, what they're going through right now. It's been awesome.
1980 Miracle on Ice star Rob McClanahan spent some time with the Four Nations USA team last week. He's also in the final season of coaching high school hockey at Blake. Yes, a swan song season for Mac. He reflects on what he tried to be to his student athletes.
It's my job to make sure that they buy into the process and fall in love with the process, because it's not the results, it's the process.
And the rest takes care of itself.
Yep.
Girls high school hockey tournament moves to Class AA quarterfinals today at the XL Energy Center. Gopher women's basketball team won last night 74-61 over Purdue. Grace Krochalski, 27 points. Sophie Hart, 22 for the Golden Gophers. Much more coming up today at 6 on WCCO TV. I'll sit down and go one-on-one with Brock Nelson from Boston as he prepares to play Canada tonight, and much more. That's coming up at 6 and 10 on WCCO TV. For CBS News This Morning, I'm Mike Max, and that is your morning look at sports.
So Maxie just mentioned his story with Brock Nelson airing tonight, but you here at the live desk get a first look at the full interview with Nelson. That's coming up in less than a half an hour right here at the live desk. But first, Rob McClanahan spent part of his last week with the Four Nations USA team, and he's one of the 1980 Miracle on Ice stars. He is hanging up his hockey whistle as a high school coach, and he spoke with our Mike Max about what a remarkable hockey life it's been.
Rob McClanahan was invited to spend time with Team USA at the Four Nations face-off last week.
Johnson to McClanahan.
It is the 45th anniversary of the 1980 Miracle on Ice team. So he and his teammates have been invited to many events celebrating their storybook gold medal. How much fun has this been?
Well, we're having a blast. If the U.S. would win another gold, they'd stop talking about us. Grant and Kellen in front.
But most of his hockey time is spent here. In 2018, he came to Blake High School as an assistant. A year later, he was the head coach.
To your left. You're going to your left.
And he sounds a little like his Olympic head coach, Herb Brooks.
It's the desire to try to make these kids become aware that they are capable of accomplishing far more than they ever thought they could.
He loves the challenge, game nights, and coaching. Again, he sounds like Herbie. Do you have to kick butts to get those results, or what do you have to do?
I come down on them.
Yeah.
I'm not easy. I'm fair. I have a high expectation.
Put your street clothes on, because I got no time for quitters.
Which brings us back to 1980 at Lake Placid. And in the famous movie Miracle, when Brooks tells him to play through a bruise in the first round that turned into an altercation.
You want me to play, huh? Is that what you want? I want you to be a hockey.
And that scene was far more intense, and I almost threw a punch, and then what happened is Herbie left the locker room and I followed him out into the hallway. Herbie, I'm not gonna say he picked on me, but Herbie was hard on me. I guess because he knew I could take it and I would respond accordingly.
He's reflecting much this winter because it will be his last as a hockey coach and in his career in the financial industry.
I'm 67. My wife and I are ready for a new adventure.
Yeah,
So,
but it's been quite a ride.
it's been good.
Leaving with appreciation for a hockey life and more.
I've been blessed with good friends, great family, great opportunities, and we're just going to try something different. I have no idea what that is yet.